his 50th Premier Class pole, and look at that record this year. Of course, no race at Silverstone, just the 2 blips to the copybook then, Mugello and Argentina.
And he usually gets the job done when he's on the front row of the grid, Marc Marquez. He's taken 41 wins in the MotoGP World Championship. 38 of those have been from the front row. And he's got massed support here as well this weekend. So we can go on the grid for the first time and hear from Simon Crafer.
Yes, guys, I'm firmly in the middle of the grid with Takaaki Nakagami. And you mentioned about his rear tyre. I can see he's got a hard rear on. Taka, it's hot like Suzuka 8 Hour here, and it seems like you like the track. What are you hoping for?
Yeah, it's quite nice track. It's quite simple, it's quite flat, but you know, it's quite easy. Not easy to overtake, especially inside the corner. So yeah, try to make a good start, and really important after the start to get the good position.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, I think the hero of the race award has already gone to that very brave Valentino Rossi fan who was basically sat all in his lonesome, smack bang in the middle of the Marc Marquez dedicated stand. He's in the wrong stand, that guy. That's where he should have been as the yellow flags wave en masse for Valentino Rossi. Brave in the extreme, that Rossi fan, as Andrea Dovizioso just tries to keep himself cool and calm. It's just such energy-sapping conditions here, physically and mentally draining for the riders. A capacity crowd have flocked into this Chang International Circuit. Andrea Dovizioso been taking ice baths all weekend to keep his core temperature down. Danilo Petrucci was saying that it's been so hot and excruciatingly uncomfortable for him. He's been sweating buckets all weekend. He's been having to take on board a minimum of 10 litres of water every single day just to keep himself rehydrated. As we see Dorna CEO Carmelo Espoleta having a chat pre-race with some Yamaha officials, amongst them Yamaha Motor Racing Managing Director Lynn Jarvis, who's come in for a bit of criticism, I think it's fair to say, of late after this man Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi's alarming slump in fortunes.
Maverick Vinales then starting from 4th. When he's had good pace on Fridays and Saturdays of late, it's not gone so well, as you can see from that record down below. Not since Sachsenring in Germany have we seen a Yamaha on a podium. That was the day Rossi and Vinales finished 2nd and 3rd. Simon.
Yes, guys, I'm just standing ahead of Dovizioso's bike with Paolo Ciabatti. And Paolo, watching yesterday in all the practices, it seemed like Dovi on the hard tyres, which most people are using in this race, seemed really good. His race pace looked great. And what do you think is possible for him?
Well, as you said, we are quite confident to have a good race pace, and I think yeah, it will be important to see what will be the race pace in the first laps, because I think even though the hard tire is probably the option chosen by all the top riders, it will be difficult to see them last with the same consistency until the last part of the race. But we are confident. Warm-up was positive. Obviously, as usual, Marquez is the #1 competitor we have also for this race, but I think also the 2 Yamaha will be there. So very interesting race. I think we have good chances to fight for top position, and it's impressive to see so many people here in Thailand. So we're very happy, very well organized event. So happy to be in Thailand and hope to have a great race.
Thanks, Paolo.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely echo those sentiments set out there by Paolo Ciabatti. Thanks for him talking to us. Pedrosa, come on. Can they roar Dani Pedrosa onto his first podium finish of the season? Just 5 races left of Dani Pedrosa's Grand Prix career, of course, before he retires at the end of the season. 7th on the grid, Dani Pedrosa. He was the fastest man here in the winter test in Buriram 8 months ago.
Dovizioso then looking cool and calm as ever, ready to pounce from 3rd place on the grid.
May well be a chess match, Steve, for the first 2/3 of this race, as the riders just keep a little bit in reserve. They won't want to push too hard too early and burn up that rear tyre. They're going to want to try and keep some tyre life for those crucial final 5 or 6 laps. The men who've done the best at that over the last few months, well, 3 men have been the best at that in the last 3 months. One of them sadly missing, Jorge Lorenzo, Andrea Dovizioso, and of course Marc Marquez on the Repsol Honda. Simon.
Yes, I've just been walking back through the grid, and it's like majority of riders are using the drink packs, you know, that have a tube from the back, their hump in their back through to their helmet. And I've just wandered over to have a chat to Frankie Morbidelli. Frankie, you're fighting for, you know, the best rookie of the year and doing a great job. What do you expect from today?
Well, I hope to make a good race. The weekend so far went good. Good feelings, decent pace. I believe that everybody's going to make the same tire choice. Let's see. And let's hope to have a good race.
See you at the end of it.
Thank you.
They don't get any cooler and calmer than Franco Morbidelli, of course, as we just see there, the legend that is Mick Doohan down on the front of the grid, 5-time 500cc world champion.
Cal Crutchlow fan on the grid there.
Oh dear.
Couldn't help that one. There are the British fans again. They've just spotted themselves on the big screens, taking in some of the local liquid refreshments, shall we say, pre-race. Getting liquid on board for these riders of the non-alcoholic variety is going to be critical ahead of this race. It's going to be a real punishing 45 minutes ahead. The Buriram City Shrine there. Who will be our first ever MotoGP winner here in Buriram?
You there, guys? I'm on the front of the grid with Mick Doohan. Mick, you've won. Hello? We've lost.
A heart-moving, brilliant rendition of the Thai national anthem. The fans here greatly appreciated that one. Simon, are you still with the 5-times world champion, the Australian legend Mick Doohan?
Yes, guys. Sorry, I was running back through the grid there and I hadn't noticed it had started with my headphones, so sorry about that. I'm with Mick still. Yeah, Mick, you've won plenty of races. I want your thoughts on today. Who do you think is going to, who it's going to be between?
Well, you know, I didn't see all the practice sessions, but the looks of it's going to be Dovizioso and Marquez, isn't it? Those guys seem to be the strongest consistently. But this place, looking at the races that have gone already, but it doesn't always translate to the MotoGP race, but it's very close. It seems like it's going to be difficult to break away. So let's hope that's the case. But on current form, Marquez is looking too strong. So, you know, failing some type of tyre incident or whatever, I think that without a doubt Marquez, and it's great for Honda here as well.
Thanks, Mick.
Cheers.
Well, he was a Repsol Honda legend himself, and his money, not surprisingly, is going on a current and future Repsol Honda MotoGP legend, Marc Marquez. We look at Johan Zarco, 8th on the grid for the Frenchman. Disaster last time out for him, 14th place now on the first time he's missed the top 10 in 18 races since he was 15th in Misano over a year ago.
Indonesia in our hearts, a sign being held up there by Hafiz Syarian of Malaysia, of course, an awful earthquake and subsequent tsunami over there that has taken so many lives, sadly. So our thoughts are with Indonesia, of course. Huge MotoGP fan base in this part of the world and in Indonesia, so our thoughts are with you.
Yeah, big race in the Southeast Asian region for Hafiz Syarian, not quite as big as the one he's got coming up in a few weeks' time at the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. Hafiz Syarian, he goes from the back of the 6th row today in 18th position.
Here is Alvaro Bautista. He got himself into Q2 yesterday. Did Alvaro, but he was at the back of the queue in that session. 12th place he'll start today. He ended that great top 10 run over in Aragon, so he's looking to get himself back in the points again here today. You look here at Marc Marquez now preparing himself. Doesn't look like there's any last-minute changes going on at the moment, or is there going to be a last-minute surprise? There's pole position man Marc Marquez, and Number 4 is Andrea Dovizioso, who is not the championship leader, I should just point out. He is, of course, trying to hunt down the championship leader coming into this race. But Thailand is just moments away, and the BMW was going to roar off as well. 15th round of the World Championship here in Thailand. Let's find out how we've got to here.
Up the inside of his teammate. They run. Here comes Maverick side by side. Marc Marquez wins in Assen.
That had been worked on from turn 11 and 2 in 1. Buy one, get one free. I think he's got one. Dovizioso come through. Dovizioso has taken the victory here.
And here he comes now. Up the inside.
And Marquez is now going to come back with one of his own.
They almost toss on the straight. Lorenzo though, clever.
Austria is Lorenzo land. Get ready to start here in Aragon.
The door's open and Marquez goes through. That's aggressive.
Brilliant from Dovizioso.
They're going to get him on the comeback. Three abreast through turn number 15.
Marc Marquez flies back, gets another bit closer. Marquez through, and he wins to take control. And he says, yes, this is my championship. The front row then here in Thailand, the first ever Grand Prix in this country. And as you can see, it's hard tyres all the way on this front row. Andrea Dovizioso will start from 3rd, looking for his 5th consecutive podium. Valentino Rossi's not been on the rostrum since Germany. He's looking for his first win since Assen 2017 to stop the rot for Yamaha. But it's all about this man on pole. His 50th Premier Class pole, Marc Marquez, 72 up and counting.
Brace yourself, folks. We've got a 26-lap MotoGP tussle in Thailand coming your way. A front row, Marc Marquez's 50th Premier Class pole position with Valentino Rossi and Andrea Dovizioso joining him at the front of the grid. Maverick Vinales, Cal Crutchlow and Andrea Iannone on row 2. All that top 6 on hard option rear tyres. Row 3, headed by quickest man here in the test 8 months ago, Danny Pedrosa, joined with Johan Zarco and Danilo Petrucci. Row 4, Jack Miller, Alex Rins and Alvaro Bautista, Franco Morbidelli, Taka Nakagami, who decided to go for that hard rear tyre with Bradley Smith on row 5, Alicia Spargo, Carol Abraham and Hafi Shireen on row 6, Paul Espargaro, Xavier Simeon and Tito Rabat's injury replacement Jordi Torres in 21st, with Tom Luthi and Scott running on the back of the grid. And you will have noticed that Alicia Spargaro then is the only man who's rolled the dice, the only man who's gambled on the factory Aprilia for this historic first ever Thai MotoGP race. Alicia Spargaro, the only rider in the field on the soft rear tyre.
Away we go for the warm-up lap. Well, Thailand, this is the moment you've been waiting for since September when it was announced on the calendar. Today's spectator attendance, just over 100,000 people. You've got to believe that it would be more. Now, if you're wondering why some of those grandstands over there are full, it's because there's no cover. It is so hot out there, and it's the bottoms of some of the grandstands where, of course, there's no shade. People are avoiding like the plague. This is Valentino Rossi, the 37th different circuit that he's raced at during his Grand Prix career, an astonishing number. Traditionally speaking, when we've gone to new circuits, Valentino Rossi hasn't always gone well at them, but it could be a different matter today, who knows?
13 years Valentino Rossi's been on a factory Yamaha. He's never gone 5 races in a row without a podium finish. Not a record he'll want to have at the end of this 26-lap Buriram Grand Prix. Maverick Vinales, he's leading the way on this warm-up lap. What can he do from 4th place? Only the 2nd time Vinales has qualified in the top 6 in the last 6 races. He's winless since the French Grand Prix in Le Mans back in May 2017. Rossi and Yamaha winless since the Dutch TT in June 2017. Can they arrest that decline? Can they get in that fight with Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso? Who is going to create history and be our first ever MotoGP winner here at the Chang International Circuit in Thailand.
No Lorenzo here today. Factory Ducati rider Andrea Dovizioso riding solo for them. They're all just testing their brakes on the grid, and Marc Marquez comes to the line. Valentino Rossi second, going through his rituals and his routines. Dovizioso third, a row two featuring Viñales, Crutchlow and Iannone. Then it's Pedrosa, Zarco and Petrucci. It's Thailand time. Here in MotoGP, we wait for that green flag. We've just got Pol Espargaro trying to get himself into position on the grid before we can go. Hopefully he's okay. I think he's got the bike running. He has, which means we're good to go. Eyes on the lights. We are go in Thailand. A terrible start from Andrea Iannone on that second row, but Marc Marquez got away well, as did Cal Crutchlow. Valentino Rossi will go through in second. Crutchlow's up to third. Dovizioso then down to fourth.
A few riders, I think Jack Miller and Danny Pedrosa were in hot the first corner. They were well wide. Marquez then got the dream start from his 50th career pole position. Only Rossi and Mick Doohan have had more poles in the Premier classes than Marc Marquez. Can Rossi find a way through at turn number 3? He's not going to be tight enough. Dovizioso pounces on the inside of Cal Crutchlow though. Dovizioso quickly recovers that place he lost off the front row.
Down we go then out of turn 3. Valentino Rossi in the slipstream here of Marc Marquez. Is he eyeing up a move into the really quick turn 4? No, he stays there for now. Dovizioso third. Then it's Cal Crutchlow, and Maverick Viñales has made a better start than previous races, and he's already making a move. Johan Zarco's up there as well. Jack Miller just behind them, and then the two Suzukis.
Yeah, good start from Zarco. He's already picked up 2 places from 8th to 6th as they sweep into the infield section for the first time. Marquez under severe pressure from Valentino Rossi. Then Dovizioso and Crutchlow. Jack Miller was out wide the first corner. He recovered to get himself back inside that top 10. Danny Pedrosa struggled off the line. He's lost a lot of places, Pedrosa. 5, in fact, 7th to 12th for the man who was quickest here in Buriram at the test 8 months ago.
We're now entering sector 4. This has been Valentino Rossi land all weekend. Can he pounce here on Marc Marquez? Nobody has touched him, and here he comes. He's just got so much drive and the inside line, but he can't quite do it. He stays put for now as they all bunch up. Zarco's going in really deep.
And Alex Rins has just picked the pocket of his teammate Andrea Iannone, who struggled on the first lap on the second of the factory Suzuki's then. Iannone has 4 back though. So Marquez leads over the line to complete lap number 1. 25 still to go. Marquez, Rossi and Dovizioso, as you were off the line on that front row of the grid. Cal Crutchlow's picked up 1 place from 5th to 4th. That place gained on Maverick Viñales, who's in that 5th position.
Tighter line there from Rossi, the wide sweeping line for the Repsol Honda of 93. Marc Marquez out front. Ducati rider Dovizioso couldn't use the power to his advantage on that straight just then. Crutchlow sitting pretty in 4th for now.
So on board then with Valentino Rossi, looking forward to the menacing Marc Marquez. 38 wins from 41 in his MotoGP career have all come from that front row of the grid. Maverick Viñales doing his best to fend off the pursuit of Johan Zarco, and Zarco sweeps on through actually. Briefly, Zarco took that place. He has got it actually. I just saw that commentary box window, then Zarco a snatch 5th place from Viñales going through turn number 7.
Sector 3 and 4, the Yamaha are able to stick to the tail of the Repsol Honda of Marc Marquez. Is he close enough now to have a go as we around turn 10, then flick right to turn 11. Rossi here in the slipstream using all the curb. Again, he's going up alongside him. He's not quite close enough. He doesn't fancy it just yet, Valentino Rossi.
The speed that Rossi carries through turn number 11 is unbelievable. It's much quicker than Marc Marquez. The Yamaha grandstand in front of us here in the main grandstand in Buriram just erupts every time Valentino Rossi comes into view. Viñales can't pick his way through back on Johan Zarco just as yet. Jack Miller is right behind Viñales. Petrucci's just taken 9th place from Alex Rins. Fastest lap of the race has gone to Ducati's Andrea Dovizioso. It's a new record, of course. First ever Grand Prix here in Buriram, a 1:32.525. In fact, Marquez, Rossi and Dovizioso on that second lap barely split. 32.579 from Marquez, 32.529 from Rossi, and a 32.525 from Dovizioso. So Dovizioso just 4 thousandths faster last time around than Valentino Rossi.
It's Honda, Yamaha, Ducati, Honda. Maverick Viñales in 5th. Just usual first couple of laps for Maverick before he starts getting that fuel down in that tank. Around turn number 6 we go. We'll flick right then into turn 7. Here's Jack Miller, he's in 7th. That'll do for now from the Alma Pamak rider. He's had good pace most of the weekend.
Yeah, Jack Miller, just one of 5 riders in this field as well that's opted for the medium front tyre. So how long will that stay at a decent grip level underneath Jack Miller? Obviously not comfortable with the hard front. What you gain in braking stability and straight line braking, you'll of course lose in turning and corner entry. So Jack Miller perhaps preferring to have a more agile and nimble motorcycle rather than it being the stopping power of the hard tyre. Cal Crutchlow can't force his way through as yet on his former Ducati and Tech3 Yamaha teammate. Oh, there's somebody down the final corner.
Yeah, big moment there.
Nakagami?
I think it was Nakagami. Fastest lap of the race goes to Marc Marquez. The corner speed he carries through turn 12 is impressive, and he's into the 31s. There's Nakagami's bike, the Idemitsu LCR rider, unfortunately down and out. And now Marquez is asking early questions here of Valentino Rossi.
Ooh, he didn't half-stretch him on that lap, didn't he, Marquez? He took 4/10 of a second straight away out of Valentino Rossi. He's the first man in this race then who's dipped into the 131s. Rossi a 132.1, Dovizioso a 132.3, so Rossi himself was a couple of tenths quicker than Dovizioso on that last lap.
Up towards turn number 5 we go. Marquez from Rossi, Dovizioso, Crutchlow and Vinales. Alex Rins up the inside there of Danny Pedrosa. So he now moves up into 8th place. Rossi, though, has closed that gap down. It's again in that middle part of the circuit where Rossi is able. It's one line, that's the problem for Rossi.
Danny Pedrosa paying dearly as well for a tough first corner. I'm not sure who it was, but he got run wide out at turn 1, Steve. He lost 5 places straight away. Didn't get a bad start from 7th, but nudge wide at the first corner, dropped him back to 12th place. He's only been able to recover 1 place right now at the moment, Danny Pedrosa. Although that said, he has now got up into 9th, so he's on the charge on this lap. Found a way through on Petrucci. Next in his sights will be Alex Rins.
Rossi able to just cut that gap down by a couple of tenths here on this lap. And as we go across the line, a 31.5 from Rossi, a 31.4 from Dovizioso. So the pace is already being upped. Will they now stretch the rest of the field if they continue this?
Well, Crutchlow and Vinales have responded immediately, straight away when they need to. Oh, Valentino Rossi moves out the slipstream. Valentino Rossi, the Yamaha grandstand goes absolutely wild. The yellow flags start waving. Valentino Rossi leads the Thai Grand Prix. Made his move on that run down to turn 3 on Marc Marquez. Rossi leads here in Thailand.
He's made his move, has Valentino Rossi, and the crowd in front of us here are going absolutely crazy. We can barely hear ourselves think here in the commentary box. Just in the background there, Zarco struggling to live with this pace in 6th place. Have we got the 5 riders that can do it? Disappointment here for Takaki Nakagami, although he is going to try and go out there and maybe have another go at it. So Rossi leads. When he comes up to his grandstand in a moment, the place is going to erupt. 1 line through sector 3.
Yeah, we're coming into sector 4, where we know Valentino Rossi has been in a league of his own all weekend. He's been supreme in that 4th sector. Lynn Jarvis, Yamaha Motor Racing Managing Director, looks on. They're in their worst losing streak in 46 years, but it's their number 46, their talisman, that's leading the way here in Thailand, trying to end that long run. Their worst since they entered the Premier Class in 1972. Dovizioso's got the inside line. He's pouncing on Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez on this lap number 5 then has lost 2 places. He led at the start of this lap. He's lost out there to Rossi and Dovizioso. An Italian 1-2. The Italian's doing a job on Marquez.
Matt, Marquez's lap time of 32.8, miles off what he posted a moment ago.
Well, is he just sort of dropping back a little bit to see what Dovizioso and Rossi have got in their locker? Have a good early look at them.
Well, he's
Give
clever.
himself plenty of time to work out where their strengths and weaknesses are.
We know he's a clever cookie.
He's a wily, canny old operator, isn't he, Marc Marquez? Crutchlow and Vinales are just off the back of that podium battle right now. Crutchlow's a couple of tenths behind Marquez. Vinales a further 3 tenths back. Then Jack Miller still doing a great job of keeping himself on the coattails of Johan Zarco in the battle for 6th.
Dovizioso starting to warm up here. He's right on the rear wheel now of Valentino Rossi, who will be informed of Dovi's presence in a moment.
Well, on the last lap, Steve, lap 5 compared to lap 4 for Rossi. Rossi was 6 tenths slower. To get into the lead, he blitzed down a 1:31.5. Last time around, he was a 1:32.1. There was a massive chasm between Rossi, Dovizioso and Marc Marquez. Don't think Marquez will be going anywhere near the the panic button right now, though. He may well just be wanting to have a little bit of a look early doors here at what Dovizioso and Rossi have got.
Crucially, that sector 4, if they don't work it out, Rossi's got it. While he leads going into that final sector, no one can lay a finger on him unless they work out what he's doing differently and close up on them.
There's been a few times this year, though, Steve, we've seen the Yamaha competitive at this stage of the race. It's the last 5 or 6 laps where the Yamaha has run out of grip. When the tyres start to wear, and we know this Buriram circuit, it's really excessively wearing that rear tyre in particular. Have Yamaha found something with that traction control to manage the wheel spin better? Have they been able to extract a bit more durability out of that rear tyre? We'll find out over the next half an hour or so, but it is those last 5 or 6 laps where Rossi has wilted in the past. Catch your minds back to Brno. He was in the podium hunt for a long, long time with Lorenzo, Dovizioso and Marquez, and then just in those final 5 or 6 laps when that top 3 really pulled the pin and got the hammer down, Valentino Rossi just didn't have enough rear grip left to respond.
Yeah, he started second on that day, and he finished 4th as Marquez here just regroups. So I think you're right, Matt. I think he's probably, because he hadn't pulled away, he's just having a good old look at his nearest and dearest here. On board now with Andrea Dovizioso on the Ducati, looking back at Marc Marquez as we enter sector 3. Around the double right-handers here at turns 8, now into turn 9.
Well, there's unfamiliar territory this losing streak is for Yamaha. They're not accustomed to leading Grand Prix this year. Coming into Buriram, Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales leading over the line this year. 320 race laps we've had prior to this race. They'd led 5 of those 320. So they're in uncharted waters here.
It's extending all the time as we come on to the start-finish straight. Rossi gets brilliant drive, actually, out of that final corner as well. And we go across the line and a 31.6 from Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, the lap times are fluctuating quite dramatically here, aren't they? We've gone from 131.5s to low 132s, and then the next lap, Rossi pings himself straight back into 131.6s, and that drags Dovizioso and Marquez with him. Crutchlow also in the 131s. Maverick Vinales had a tough 7th lap. He did a 132 flat. And right behind him, the likes of Zarco, Miller, Rins, Pedrosa and Petrucci were all able to keep themselves into those 131s.
There is Johan Zarco. 7/10 down on Maverick Vinales. He's 6th at the moment. That would be his first top 6 for a very long time if he stayed there. Then it's Jack Miller, Alex Rins and Danny Pedrosa.
Yeah, there's not a lot of differential in the lap times. Valentino Rossi, your race leader, did a 131.6. Andrea Iannone back in 11th place now. He did a 131.8, so the Suzuki man only a couple of tenths behind the race leader pace. Real good dogfight going on here between Petrucci, Pedrosa and Alex Rins. Back at the front though, and it's still advantage Rossi.
Cal Crutchlow's doing a good job just to hang on to this group at the moment.
Well, of course, crucially for Cal Crutchlow, Steve, if he carries on keeping himself in this podium battle with Johan Zarco and Danilo Petrucci behind him, Cal Crutchlow's going to seize control of that all-important independent team rider championship battle. Nobody can get close to Rossi in sector 4. It's still Andrea Dovizioso that's got the baton in his hand, trying to hunt down his fellow Italian. Rossi does a 32 flat. The 3 men behind him, Dovizioso, Marquez and Crutchlow, they all do either a 131.9 or a 131.8. So the pursuing pack slightly faster last time around than the Doctor.
You get the feeling that Maverick Vinales is just starting to get into flow now as well. So this could be a 5-way fight soon. They head in towards turn 3. A move was coming further back there from Alex Rins as he looks to try and move ahead of Jack Miller in the background, and I'm not sure if it's worked out. I think he might have been pushed wide. On board now with Marc Marquez, looking at the tail unit of Andrea Dovizioso through turn 4. Now up towards turn 5.
Andrea Iannone's out well wide at turn 4. It looked like Alex Rins made a super ambitious move stick on Danilo Petrucci coming through turn number 4. A bit further down the field, it's Zarco, Miller, Rins, Pedrosa and Petrucci behind that lead group of 5. Then Iannone, Bautista, Aleix Espargaro, the only man who threw the dice big star and gambled on the soft rear tyre. He's 13th, Bradley Smith 14th, and Hafi Siren in 15th place. Hafi Siren actually just as past Franco Morbidelli, so on course to claw back some points in that battle to be crowned Rookie of the Year this year.
Sector 4 still being dominated by Valentino Rossi. He's got another couple of tenths in his back pocket, always, as he comes down into the final corner. They make their way around then, and there will be 17 laps to go. It's still Rossi that leads from Andrea Dovizioso, then Marquez, Crutchlow, Vinales, all together. Then it's a gap back to Zarco, Rins, Pedrosa, and Jack Miller. Danilo Petrucci takes up 10th spot at the moment.
You're absolutely bang on the money about Maverick Vinales, Steve. He's just set his fastest lap of the race at 1:31.782. There's nothing between the lap times of this top 5 at all. Rossi 1:31.7, Dovizioso 1:31.7, Marquez at 1:31.7, Crutchlow at 1:31.8, and Vinales at 1:31.7.
Just get a feeling that Dovizioso is weighing up a move here and rehearsing a turn 3 block pass on Valentino Rossi. That is probably going to be his best chance, because he has been one of the quickest riders through Sector 1, and no surprise there.
Well, slipstream in the Yamaha for the Ducati should be no stress or drama whatsoever for Andrea Dovizioso. The Ducati's so fast compared to the Yamaha, it can strip the paint off Valentino Rossi's M1 as it goes down that 1 kilometre start straight.
Through Sector 3 then. Valentino Rossi still just edging it from Dovizioso and Marquez. They look a bit closer to the number 46 on this lap, but here we are into Sector 4.
Do you know who was the quickest man last time around with a 1:31.686? Keep your eye on him. Alex Rins. He's got into a serious rhythm at the moment, Rins. He's dragging Danny Pedrosa with him. They've left Jack Miller floundering as it concertinas up at turn number 12 between Rossi, Dovizioso, Marquez, the reigning world champion, the 2018 world champion elect as well, and Marc Marquez. He's fired in his fastest lap of the race at 1:31.641. Maverick Vinales. 2 laps on the spin now that he's fired in, 2 laps on the trot. Rossi, massive wheel spin coming out of the first corner, sitting duck. Rossi just lost all drive, a mistake on the gas. He lost the rear coming out of the first corner, and he was just a sitting duck, swamped by the Ducati and the Repsol Honda and Marc Marquez, as Valentino Rossi already run into some of the rear grip problems which have been an Achilles heel for the Yamaha for, what, 18 months now.
He'll be desperately hoping it's not the case.
Well, I mean, he didn't even make Dovizioso and Marquez fight for it, did he? It was easy pickings. Like taking candy off a baby, that was for Dovizioso and Marquez.
Into turn 5, Marquez right on the tail here of Dovizioso. If anyone could find a way past through this tight and twisty section, it's Marquez. But Rossi, again, this is where he's strong.
Vinales can't force the issue against Cal Crutchlow. And while this battle rages at the front, Shoyan Zarco, Alex Rins and Danny Pedrosa are just creeping towards this top 5. Zarco last time around at a 1:31.9. The 2 men behind him are quicker. Danny Pedrosa actually just set his fastest lap of the race at 1:31.5. That group involving Zarco, Pedrosa and Rins as the fastest group on the circuit right now. Rins and Pedrosa are running a serious pace. They last 2 laps, they've exchanged the fastest laps.
Rossi just struggling to hook up that Yamaha on the straights, and that is going to be the biggest problem for him. We're on board here with Dovizioso, your race leader, then onto the long 1 kilometre straight, and he opens up the firepower of that Bologna bullet. Marc Marquez is just up behind him. Cal Crutchlow now trying to chase down Valentino, and Valentino loses a good 10th or 2 through that first sector.
Full credit to Shoyan Zarco as well. He would have seen on his pit board, he'd been getting messages about how close Alex Rins and Danny Pedrosa were getting to the rear tyre of his monster Yamaha Tech 3 machine. He has responded as well. Zarco, a 1:31.704, fastest lap last time around from him. In fact, Zarco was much quicker than the 5 guys in front of him. He was 4 tenths faster than your race leader, Andrea Dovizioso.
Well, so they're all bunching up, Matt. We can see from our commentary box window, they're all a big group now with, what, 7, 8? Pedrosa is included. The gap is gone.
This brings into question, Steve, how much of Dovizioso and Marquez just stage managing this race? Is this the game of chess? They have dropped their pace. They're slowing their rhythm. That's bringing the riders back into contention behind them. But when they've got to get the hammer down, when they've got to pull the pin and raise anchor for those last 5 or 6 laps, that's where Dovizioso and Marquez in recent history have been so strong.
You do just feel, don't you, at the moment, like they're stretching the rest to try and keep in touch. They're all bunched up now, though, into the final corner. This looks like the first or second lap across the line, 14 laps to go. It has got that Brno smell to it, hasn't it? Dovizioso leads from Marquez and Rossi. Then it's Cal Crutchlow.
Well, we were
again, turn one, and the exit of turn one, Valentino Rossi's in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, last lap around as well, you can see a lot of movement already on that rear Michelin tyre for Valentino Rossi. Dovizioso and Marquez are able to take a good 8-9 bike lengths out of him down that 1 kilometre back straight. Simon.
Guys, something I just wanted to point out. You saw on the early laps that Marquez was quite slow coming out of the last fast right-hander before braking for the last turn, and you know, Valley could easily catch him there and even thought about a pass. That section is one of the hardest sections on the right-hand side of the rear tyre, because you're pretty much full throttle with big lean angle at high speed. If you watch that section over the next laps, especially towards the end of the race, I bet your Marc is not slow there anymore.
Conserving himself,
yeah,
conserving the energy.
That was the moment where Valentino Rossi just lost all drive grip coming out of turn number one, and that just allowed Andrea Dovizioso and Marc Marquez to effortlessly sweep on through. There's a real good dogfight raging between Alex Rins and Joan Zarco out on circuit right now. At the moment, it's advantage Alex Rins, but already on this lap, they've exchanged about 3 or 4 overtakes between them.
Simon Crafar there.
Zarco's having none of it. Whoa, how tight was that? Zarco, well, that was an ambitious dive bomb and a half from the Frenchman. He was close there to clipping the rear of Maverick Vinales. He did take out Alex Rins, but it's cost him a couple of places. So Zarco drops back to 8th place into the clutches of Jack Miller.
The pace really slow again on that lap into the low 32s. At the moment, they all stay together. If there's anybody that can stage manage better than anyone else, if there's anybody that has race management just one step ahead of the game, it's Marc Marquez. That's why he's 72 points clear in this World Championship.
We're exactly at the halfway point of this cracking Thai Grand Prix, and the top 11 riders are covered by less than 3.5 seconds. We were hoping for a treat in Thailand. We've got it so far in the opening half of this race, but how much are Dovizioso and Marquez keeping in their pocket here? That's the big question that we're all asking ourselves. Valentino Rossi still swarming all over the rear tyre of Marc Marquez.
In the sprint, they're all together, but who wins the marathon here in Thailand?
You know what's going to be a concern for certainly guys like Marquez and Cal Crutchlow, Steve, who we know use and abuse that Michelin front tyre pretty hard. Racing in a group like this, you're not getting any clear air on that front tyre to keep it cool. These riders, they have those motorcycles, they're fitted with sensors that bring a warning light on the dashboard to show you about an increase in the tyre temperature. Marquez and Crutchlow not in the places that they like to be in terms of keeping that front tyre cool.
Well, Cal, a classic example of that is the fact that Cal's not been able to make any forward movement, Matt, and he's got his hands full because across the line, Maverick Vinales is all over the back of him.
Yeah, sometimes you see Cal Crutchlow on a straight, he refuses the chance to take a slipstream because he tries to come out and get some clear air onto that overheating front tyre. It's the way you have to ride that Honda. You've got to be so aggressive on the brakes. That's how you make the lap time on the Honda RC213V, that you do overheat and overstress that front tyre. It's very rarely that you see Cal Crutchlow and Marc Marquez racing anything, well, under the hard compound front tyre.
So then, past halfway distance, if there are rabbits in the hat for Dovizioso and Marquez, when will they be pulled out? And can everybody else live with them?
Well, we've seen them get down to mid-131s with relative ease, Steve. 131.4 remains the fastest lap of the race set by Andrea Dovizioso on lap number 4. The question is, when will they decide that the need to dip back into those 131s? When does it become a Dovizioso-Marquez showdown again? Will it be? We hope in terms of the spectacle, we keep this freight train at the front, because at the moment it's resembling a bit of a Moto3 race. How close it is. The gap between Dovizioso and Zarco, just 1.8 seconds covering that top 8, with Jack Miller only half a second further back. Petrucci's right there as well. Andrea Iannone in 11th place, but he's only 3.5 seconds off the lead.
Braking hard down into turn number 12. There will be 11 laps remaining when they cross the line. Alex Rins almost bumps into the back of Maverick Vinales there. He's getting into a really strong rhythm, but unfortunately he's lost time there by going too deep into turn 12. Across the line we go. 31.9 for Marquez and Rossi.
Yeah, I think we're still in game of chess mode here. Nobody willing to show their hand at this stage of the race. Marquez and Rossi, though, they have dipped back into the high 131s. Alvaro Bautista, a bit further down the order in 12th place. He's just on a personal best lap race, a 131.7. He's just 1.6 seconds behind Petrucci, Ignoni rather.
All of these riders have done a lot of extensive work in latter stages of runs with hard tyres, that most of them know what they've got. Dovizioso and Marquez still yet to show maybe what they've really got in their back pocket. Marquez cannot be removed from the tail end of Dovizioso's bike. You always feel that Marquez has got a bit more, and he certainly has here.
Well, Andrea Dovizioso on this 15th lap, he's done a third of those laps, 5 in the 131s. Constantly shadowed, constantly hunted by Marc Marquez, who looks really comfortable in that second place at the moment. Valentino Rossi, it's been pretty much as you were for a number of laps now in that top 5. Rossi been third, under no real great pressure from Crutchlow or Vinales.
You know, I think this could be a lap where you see a few 31s coming from Dovizioso and Marquez.
Dani Pedrosa's picked his way through on Alex Rins, so Pedrosa up into 6th place. Dani Pedrosa just over a second away from that lead group. What's Dani Pedrosa they've got left? Marc Marquez then has gone back into those mid 131s, as has Dovizioso, 131.471 from Marquez. That's a new record.
I think the time is now.
Yeah, I think they may have just well have pulled up the anchors here.
Dovizioso and Marquez have had enough. They are now going for it. Who can hang on into turn 3? Marquez still in second, Rossi third. A bit of a gap forming then back to Cal Crutchlow. Pedrosa really is getting into a good rhythm now. On to the back of Maverick Vinales. Pedrosa is in 6th.
Yeah, Dani Pedrosa, he's not had 3 back-to-back top 6s in the MotoGP World Championship in over a year. Saxon Ring, Brno and the Red Bull Ring. He's well on course for that right now, though. Still not finished higher than 5th this season. This was the move he made up the inside of his compatriot Alex Rins down at turn number 3.
The top 2 are going, Matt. Rossi's being stretched, but he's just about clinging on.
Yeah, just
Cal Crutchlow is struggling.
Yeah, just what he did in Brno, wasn't it, Rossi? It's just how much longer can he hang in there? Yeah, Crutchlow, this top 3 have started to put clear daylight between themselves and that chasing pack, led by Cal Crutchlow. Vinales, Pedrosa, Rins is there as well. Johan Zarco looks like he might just be struggling, fading off the back of that group, that second group at the moment. He's got a bit of breathing space back to the 2 Pramac Ducatis of Petrucci and Miller.
Onto the start-finish straight, we're on board with Vinales. He's trying to get past Cal Crutchlow.
Yeah.
He's got a good opportunity here. He's got to get past him.
Crutchlow got in a little bit hot, Steve, at turn number 12. Got in hot at 12. It just compromised and sacrificed all of his drive grip and his acceleration coming out of that final corner. Another overtake where Vinales didn't really have to stretch himself to make it.
Now he's
a bit of a Christmas, early Christmas gift.
Pedrosa's got him as well. Cal Crutchlow struggling a bit here.
Well, I wonder, Steve, whether that's that front tyre issue, which we know Cal runs into when he's racing in a group. He can't call that front tyre. Is that front tyre overheating too much on Cal Crutchlow?
And what can Maverick Vinales and Dani Pedrosa do now that they're free of Cal Crutchlow? Was he just holding them up a bit? Taka Nakagami might want to run off circuit in a minute, and wisely he does so at turn 5 to allow the leaders to come through. Of course, he rejoined after a crash earlier. Still the leading trio just edging away, but the big question now, Matt, can Vinales and Pedrosa bridge the gap? It looks like they might be able to a bit here.
Yeah, well, the gap between Rossi and Vinales through sector 2 was 9/10 of a second. Let's keep close tabs on that gap between the 2 factory Yamaha men through sector 3. Yeah, Vinales, he's on the charge. He took 2/10 of a second out of Rossi in the 3rd split. The gap down to 7/10, and he's dragging Dani Pedrosa with him. Vinales'
big problem this weekend has been that 4th sector, but he doesn't look like it's troubling him at the moment. In fact, he's breaking deep into turn 12 as we speak.
Yeah,
Alex Rins is now past Crutchlow, and Crutchlow's dropping like a stone. There are 8 laps remaining here in Thailand. Across the line we go. Back into the 32s, the leaders, a 31.6 from Vinales and a 31.5 from Pedrosa.
Yeah, Cal Crutchlow plummeting the wrong way down the field. He's really struggling. I wonder if is it front tyre? Has he run into some rear grip issues as well? It's not an easy Grand Prix at all. It's just fatigue creeping in. Cal Crutchlow's been well below his peak physical best coming into this Thai Grand Prix. He had a bout of flu straight after Aragon. That led to a chest infection, which he's been struggling to get rid of, and then he's had a bit of a tummy upset as well here this weekend. So in these kind of scorching hot conditions, when you're not at your best in terms of physical condition, it's going to be a real tough battle to rage.
You know what, Matt? Danny Pedrosa smells a podium.
Oh, he's down, Steve, he's down, sorry.
Oh,
I'm just looking at that commentary box position.
Just as I said
Danny
it.
Pedrosa's crashed at turn number 5. As soon as you said that, I just thought I have a little glimpse out of our commentary box position to see where Danny Pedrosa's going. And as soon as my head popped out from behind our monitors, Danny Pedrosa was on the floor, down out at turn number 5. That is a real shame.
My apologies to Danny Pedrosa. Literally looking at his split times, and he was just gaining so much momentum on this group, and unfortunately turn 5.
That's what you call the ultimate commentator's curse. I think 10th of a second after Steve got his words out, Danny Pedrosa was chewing dust.
He's going to love me.
Here we go, turn number 5. It's coming up now. Danny Pedrosa, front end's going to just tuck out from underneath him. So it won't be a 3rd successive top 6 finish in over a year for Danny Pedrosa. Maverick Vinales now coming right into this podium battle. Swarming all over the rear tire of his teammate Valentino Rossi. Marc Marquez at the moment has not been able to get through on Andrea Dovizioso. Cal Crutchlow is really suffering. Not sure what's happened, whether it's physical or mechanical for Cal Crutchlow, but he's in the 133s last time around. He was a second slower than Johan Zarco. Something's gone horribly awry for Crutchlow out there.
He has been suffering with a bit of illness here this weekend in Thailand, Cal Crutchlow. Who will win MotoGP, says at Lorenzo 99 as he watches this one then.
Well, I'm sure had he been out there riding that factory Ducati, Jorge Lorenzo himself would have had a big part to play in the proceedings here this afternoon. We wish Jorge a very speedy recovery.
You tell us, Jorge.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think's going to win, Jorge Lorenzo? Watching the TVs here in Southeast Asia, we hope he has a quick recovery from those horrible injuries. Vinales strikes on the inside of Valentino Rossi. Maverick Vinales then now leads the Yamaha charge. Is Rossi's fading grip going to really cost him a podium again here? He has not been on the podium from his last, or not one from his last 18 front row starts. Valentino Rossi, that record looks like it's going to continue here in Thailand.
Marc Marquez content at the moment to sit behind Andrea Dovizioso. Around turn 12 we go, and there are now going to be 6 laps remaining across the line. Andrea Dovizioso at 31.8, matched by Marquez. Vinales the quickest of the bunch, once more in 3rd. I think what we can say is that Yamaha have made a considerable step forward.
That 33.5 last time around from Crutchlow must have just been a mistake, because straight away Crutchlow got himself back down into those low 132s. Alex Rins last time around on a 131.9. Of the top 5 on that last circuit, Valentino Rossi was the only man that couldn't muster a 131. This was the end of Danny Pedrosa's strong challenge.
Oh, that snapped away, didn't it? No chance there.
Do you know what, Danny Pedrosa, in his mind there, he's going to be thinking when he sits in the hotel tonight, he'll be thinking, that was a golden chance for me to get back on the podium for the first time since the last run in Valencia. Look at that. That face tells more than 1,000 words could ever tell. He knows that that was potentially, arguably, one of the better chances he's had all season to get on the podium this season, and it's vanished in the blink of an eye. No chance that he was saving that one, so Danny Pedrosa's hopes have gone.
Dovizioso and Marquez are asking questions of the 2 factory Yamahas now. Valentino Rossi's just fading a bit here. Alex Rins is actually closing in on him by half a tenth.
Got to be careful here, Valentino Rossi, because Alex Rins has taken 4/10 of a second out of him in a couple of laps here. So Rossi may well be fighting a losing battle to hang on to 4th place. So lap 21 completed here in Buriram, and it's a epic Buriram battle between Dovizioso, Marquez, with Maverick Vinales slowly but surely edging himself back into that victory battle. 46 years that Yamaha have been in a rut this bad in terms of losing streaks. Maverick Vinales has not won a race since the French Grand Prix in Le Mans 27 races ago, since Vinales was on the top step of the podium.
On board now with World Championship leader Marc Marquez as we come out of turn number 3, up towards turn 4. Marquez just behind Dovizioso with Vinales 3rd and Rossi 4th. Into turn 4 now. Vinales is still just about there. Can he get close enough? Marquez is definitely waiting. He's had a few opportunities to go through, but has decided against it.
It's been a measured performance so far from Marquez, and last time out in Aragon he had Dovizioso's measure. Has it been another Tactically astute, brilliantly crafted ride by Marc Marquez. Vinales, though, is right there. He's in the hunt. He's only, what, 5 bike lengths behind Marquez's Repsol Honda. The gap, actually, Vinales in the first 3 sectors on this lap number 22. He's found 0.2 of a second.
Marc Marquez. Turn 12 looks like a spot where Marc could get a job done. It's almost like he's reluctant because he wants it just to be between those two. He'll know that Maverick Vinales is on his tail.
You know, it's such fine margin when you get to the pinnacle, the front of a MotoGP race. The difference between Valentino Rossi and being in this battle, it's 1/10 of a second a lap. That's all he's losing at the moment. Just cannot quite get his nose back into this fight. Marc Marquez, though, he closed up on Dovizioso in the braking zone for the first corner. He got a great run in the slipstream with the Ducati. Is this where Marc Marquez pounces? It is. He lined that up all the way out of turn number 1, up the inside of Dovizioso. He runs in hot, though, at turn number 3. Dovizioso sweeps straight back through. So Marc Marquez makes his first, but ultimately unsuccessful move on Dovizioso.
That'll please Maverick Vinales in 3rd. That's worth 1/10 to him. Into turn 4, and Marc will have to try again. 4 laps to go of this race here in Thailand. Let's see it again.
Do you know, well, that was all about the brilliant drive and acceleration that Marquez got out of turn number 1. He got in up the inside of Dovizioso, but he was in way hot, almost out to the blue perimeter curve, wasn't he there, Marc Marquez? So he's going to have to do all the work again on Dovizioso. Didn't cost him too much in terms of time. He's been able to slot straight back onto the rear tyre of the Ducati.
Yeah, but Maverick Vinales is there now as well. One more move like that, and Vinales is in with a shout of a victory.
Well, you know, he looked like Marquez, Steve. The way he was able to get that power down coming out of turn 1, he's got the better drive grip than the Ducati right now.
He has.
The Honda never slipstreams the Ducati.
He's going to have another go here into turn 12, as he knows. They all bunch up together. The top 3 now are just chanting to break Valentino Rossi in 4th. We will have 3 laps to go across the line. Watch for Marquez. He's on the slipstream already. He won't have a go into turn 1, will he? No. But he'll have the corner speed into turn 1. And will we see another go at it? Onto acceleration. He'll tuck himself up behind the screen. Right into the bubble now, behind Dovizioso.
Well, he can't say he doesn't know where exactly Andrea Dovizioso's strengths and weaknesses are. He's been sat behind a Ducati man for a lot of this race. Dovizioso cuts a tight defensive line in the braking zone for turn number 3. He knows that Marc Marquez is coming. He can start hearing the Jaws music being queued up, but no way through this time for Marc Marquez. What about Maverick Vinales as well? Credit to Vinales. Twice in the last 3 races, he's been 20 seconds behind the race winner here, and here he is now in Thailand, just 0.3 behind Andrea Dovizioso.
Marc Marquez glued to the back tyre of Andrea Dovizioso around turn 6 and 7. We flick it right.
Boy, of these two had some epic showdowns. And big Marquez strikes. He's picked Dovizioso's pocket big style there. Dovizioso, though, decides to fight straight back. This is classic Marquez versus Dovizioso. How many times in the last 18 months have we seen this? Maverick Vinales, his eyes are lighting up. He's ready to pick up the pieces. It's advantage Andrea Dovizioso again twice. They've exchanged the lead on this lap. Marquez will try and attack in the braking zone for turn number 12. Can he get up the inside of Dovizioso? Dovizioso tries to break lane. Marquez has got it up the inside. On the comeback, though, Dovizioso sweeps back on through.
Brilliant
tight tussle.
Brilliant racing here in Thailand. Maverick Vinales' eyes light up. Through turn 1 we go. 2 laps to go. Valentino Rossi's closing up all the time while this happens. I don't think he's got enough tyre to have a say. Onto the straight we go. Dovizioso has it. This time Marquez is not in the slipstream. He won't be close enough to have a go over at turn 3 on this occasion.
Well, they love Muay Thai kickboxing in this part of the world, and we've got a real fight raging here for the first ever Thailand MotoGP victory. It's Andrea Dovizioso standing tall and standing firm from an onslaught by Marc Marquez's Repsol Honda. Dovizioso will lead going into turn number 4 on this penultimate lap.
Turn 4, they all go in one by one, but here we go now into a sector that Marc Marquez seems to be a lot stronger than that Ducati. It's sectors 3 and 4, and what has been the Achilles heel for Dovizioso all weekend? Sectors 3 and 4. Will he pull off the same move again here, Marc Marquez? He's had one go, it didn't work. He takes a different line this time. This will give him more drive, it'll give him the inside line, and here he goes again.
Yeah, he's done it. He's got up the inside brilliantly there of Dovizioso. He lined that up superbly. Can Andrea Dovizioso retaliate? No, he can't. Dovizioso has a big head shake on that GP18 machine. So Marc Marquez then, has he made his crucial move? He's now right in front of the Honda grandstand. He's right in front of his own 93 grandstand. They go absolutely crazy. Can Dovizioso pounce at the final corner? He's got the inside line. Here comes Andrea Dovizioso. He retaliates brilliantly. Dovizioso will lead coming onto the final lap here in Buriram. It's going to be a straight showdown. It's Dovizioso versus Marquez, Honda versus Ducati, Spain versus Italy. We've seen this so many times. Who's going to prevail here in Buriram?
Brilliant stuff and a great show that the riders have put on here for the first ever Thailand Grand Prix. Onto the straight we go. Dovizioso then, he knows what Marquez has got over on that fourth and sector. Now then, braking, defensive line.
How good did Dovizioso get that Ducati hooked up coming out the first corner, though, Steve? He was able to open up a good half a dozen bike lengths of Marc Marquez, but Marquez, he's lethal, he's a demon on the brakes. He makes a pull that deficit in the braking zone for turn number 3.
He won't have a go into turn 4, it's too fast, but he's got a great line through turn 4. And now we go into turn 5. Is he going to have a go? Yes, he is. And that's brilliantly done by Marc Marquez, but he goes wide. Dovizioso comes back through. He's got the inside line again, but he closes the door on him. The two Yamahas all of a sudden close up on the pair of them.
Dovizioso had his nose well and truly wiped there by Marc Marquez. That was super aggressive from Marc Marquez. Vinales and Rossi, they're fighting it out for the last place in the podium. Are they still fighting it out for a victory? Who knows? Marc Marquez then. Can Andrea Dovizioso find anything? They sweep now through turn number 9, just 3 corners left through turn number 10. Dovizioso, it's going to be all about the last corner. He's prevailed over Marc Marquez so many times. Here comes Andrea Dovizioso. Dovi versus Marquez going into turn 12. Dovi, Marquez tried to get it tight.
He's got
Dovizioso's come through.
He's on the inside, but they both go wide. Marquez on the comeback. He's going to do it. It's a return of the victory for Marquez, and he does to Dovizioso what Dovizioso did to him in Austria last year.
Sweet, sweet revenge then for Marc Marquez over Andrea Dovizioso. What a race. What a battle. Over the line, Marc Marquez, Andrea Dovizioso, Maverick Vinales covered by less than 0.3 of a second. Valentino Rossi, 4th place. Great charge that by the doctor.
Wow, what a race here in Thailand. Andrea Dovizioso is beaten by Marc Marquez again. And Marc Marquez then just inches closer and closer to that 2018 title.
Well,
but look at that. That's Yamaha. They're basically thumbs up saying, look, we've found something here. It was a really good performance from them.
This was Dovizioso trying the block pass up the inside of Marc Marquez. He just could not run it in tight enough, though, could he? Ran out a little bit wide. There was plenty of room, ample room for Marc Marquez to come on through. Wow, what an epic race. We felt it was going to come down to a last corner showdown. Look at Marquez.
Marquez knew it was coming.
Look at the angle of Marc Marquez's front tyre compared to his rear tyre. Opposite lock on that front end.
Marquez knew it was coming.
Well,
and he knew he had to try the cutback. He's watched Dovizioso do this to him on how many occasions?
Have a taste of your own medicine, mate. That's what he said there. Well, the Red Bull Ring, Austria 2017, Twin Ring Motegi, Japan 2017, Qatar 2018. Marc Marquez had his nose well and truly blooded by Andrea Dovizioso in that last lap battles. Well, Marc Marquez, he's caught him with a sucker punch there.
A classy stand-up wheelie across the line as well from Marquez. Dovizioso, 5 podiums on the trot. We should mention that. The Yamahas look like they're stronger because Vinales, Rossi and Zarco, Matt, finished 3rd, 4th and 5th. That is a significant improvement on where they were at 2 weeks ago in Spain.
What a classic race. We've had 3 classic races here today. The Thailand fans have never seen MotoGP racing live. They got their first taste of that today. And I think they'll be back for more over the years to come because we've had 3 absolutely brilliant belting races. Marc Marquez moves on to 68 career wins. That ties him now with his Spanish rival Jorge Lorenzo on 68. That now means that only 4 men in history, legends of the sport, Mike Hayward, Angel Nieto, Valentino Rossi and Giacomo Agostini, have won more Grand Prix than Marc Marquez.
Huge shout out, by the way, further back, the winner of the rookie battle, Hafiz Sirin in 12th. Brilliant result.
Welcome return to form for him because he's had a real tough patch.
And Jordi Torres finished in 19th, ahead of Tom Luthi, Pol Espargaro, and of course Nakagami, who crashed. So a good result there for the Spanish Elvis.
Yeah, so a couple of points gathered back in the rookie battle competition by Hafi Cyrene, but Andrea Dovizioso, he left it all out there. He did everything he possibly could. He attacked Marc Marquez at the final corner, but this time around it was this man that got the better of him, the number 93 Marc Marquez. What a ride as well by Valentino Rossi. He tried to make the early pace, just didn't quite perhaps have the rear grip towards the end of the race, but a 4th position on the 37th different racetrack that this man has raced on in his illustrious World Championship career. He had a bit of a lunge up the inside of, or tried to get close to Viñales at the final corner. That's why Rossi came over the line 1.2 seconds behind his teammate. But what a great day of two-wheeled Thai entertainment. That was an absolutely brilliant afternoon's entertainment. Andrea Dovizioso comes across to congratulate Marc Marquez's Repsol Honda crew. And for the second time in a fortnight, he has not quite been able to get the better of Marc Marquez. These two have been the two standout riders of the MotoGP World Championship over the last 2 years. So what it all came down to, we've seen this roles reversed before in Motegi and in the Red Bull Ring in Austria. There you can see Rossi was in a bit hot at that final corner. And this is what it looks like. That's what it looks like, a winning margin of just over 1/10 of a second between Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso. And he'll have his first match point to win the World Championship in Honda's backyard, the Japanese Grand Prix at the Twin Ring Motegi.
Let's not forget, this is such a huge race for Honda here as well. Not just for Japan in terms of wrapping up the championship, but there is so much support for Honda here in Thailand. Look at the excitement on the face of Marc Marquez.
I think it's fair to say he is absolutely buzzing down there, isn't he? What a performance. What a ride. It's the sweetest of victories, isn't it, when you take it at the final corner, and a warm embrace for two men who have put on another cliffhanger here for us here in Thailand. That pesky little Marquez, he keeps coming back to haunt us, doesn't he?
But, hey, great atmosphere here in Thailand. They've put on another great show, Marquez and Dovizioso. They continue to do it. They did it last year. They're doing it again this year as well. Jorge Lorenzo will be watching from home, from the bedside, thinking, I wish I was a part of that.
3 Yamahas in the top 5 with Johan Zarco coming home in 5th place. Alex Rins got another top 6. His first time he's ever had back-to-back top 6s in 3 in a row in MotoGP. Alex Rins, first time he's done that since his Moto2 days back in 2016. So his decent run continues. Maverick Viñales.
Need to put more weight on the rear is what Maverick Viñales is telling the top brass in Yamaha.
Still, when all said and done, it's a podium, only his 7th in the last 26 races. Yamaha's losing streak goes on. It's no win in 28 now for Maverick Viñales. No win for Valentino Rossi in 24. No win for Yamaha, of course, now in 24, but that's as close as they've been for quite some time as they head to the all-important home Grand Prix in Japan in a couple of weeks' time. Takeo Yokoyama, well, he looks ecstatic, and why wouldn't he be? His man, Marc Marquez, has just produced another moment of magic here in Buriram. There's been so much excitement and anticipation over the Chang International Circuit. Maverick Viñales are not quite victorious here for Yamaha. 3rd place in the field. Let's see what he says with Simon.
Welcome back to the podium, Maverick. You've had strong starts to races this year quite often. Sorry, you've had strong finishes to races this year quite often. This time you had a strong start too. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Anyway, today I think we were really strong, especially at the end of the race. It was an amazing track, an amazing atmosphere. I think the bike was working like it needed to work this weekend, and I could be there. So I just need to believe more in myself, trying to be more competitive, especially at the end. Yeah, I pushed too much in the last 5 laps that finally I didn't have the chance to attack. But anyway, I'm really happy. Honestly, I have to say that the team works really good, and hot condition, being on the podium, it's really good.
Congratulations, Maverick.
There you go again, just didn't quite have the speed over those last 5 laps. That's something that Yamaha have got to work on and focus on ahead of the 2019 World Championship. I'm sure they will do, of course, but congratulations to Maverick Vinales, because he's been in a pretty average run of form of late. As we await the arrival to the fence to talk to Simon Crafar of 2 guys who put on an absolutely incredible show here. Andrea Dovizioso then, 5 successive podium finishes for the first time in MotoGP, 5 successive podiums for the first time since 2007. Let's see what he says about it with Simon.
Andrea, you and Marc were so evenly matched. I feel sorry that one of you had to get second, but are you proud of your effort?
Yes, I mean, it's not nice to lose at the last corner, but I'm really happy because this track, it wasn't our. And in February we struggled a little bit, and we came here, we struggled a little bit at the beginning, but we did some change, and I think we did a good step because the consumption was more than Aragon, and at the end we battled for the victory. So we did incredible work, and we are continuing to improve.
Great job.
Yeah, it was a great show. Ducati will only continue to improve. They need to, though, don't they, with a rival as strong and as potent as Marc Marquez. What a performance by the reigning world champion.
It is a huge step forward, though, for Andrea Dovizioso, Matt. First, third, first, second now in 5 races on the trot. Ducati have not had consistency like that for a long, long time.
It's the 39th time in his 42 wins that Marc Marquez has won on that front row of the grid. Revenge is sweet for him, beating Andrea Dovizioso at the final corner here in Buriram. And here he comes, Magic Marquez wins the Battle of Buriram. He's talking to Simon in Park Ferme.
That was a great fight, Marc. You and Andrea looked so evenly matched. How difficult was it to make those passes?
It was difficult, I mean, and especially when you know that all last laps with in the past with the Ducati riders, I lose every time. But this time I said, okay, I will try to give my 100%, and was opposite. I arrived first in the first corner, I braked so late, he overtook me, but I was able to stop the bike, turn quick, and yeah. Amazing to win here after a difficult weekend, but anyway, we struggled a few points, but the team worked very good during all weekend. They give everything, so one more step to the final dream.
Congratulations, Marc.
Congratulations to Marc Marquez. You can see what that victory means to him. Yeah, of course, let's not forget, Red Bull Ring this year, he lost out on a last lap showdown with Hoy Lorenzo's Ducati, so he's tasted that bitter taste of defeat to Ducati on last lap showdowns quite a few times, but he's the man of Buriram.
77 clear with 4 races remaining for Marc Marquez. This is the moment that he made his initial move on Dovizioso down into turn 12 with 3 laps to go, and of course that was something that he was rather used to, but then he returned the favour, of course. Brilliant moments here, and inventing some moves. He'd been sat behind Dovizioso for a while, so he knew where he was able to get him in sector 3. Cost Dovizioso ultimately.
His golden run goes on then for Marc Marquez. That's his 8th successive podium finish in a row. It's his best podium streak since that golden run to kick off 2014. These are just some of the many overtakes which we've got to talk you through. This was 2 laps to go at turn 5. Marc Marquez attacked, Andrea Dovizioso tried desperately to force that Ducati up the inside. This was the last lap. Dovizioso, he threw it all in. Look how tight that was between Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales as well. We were focused on that battle for the victory, and it was pretty tight between Rossi and Vinales at that final corner. But when all said and done, Marquez is the master again. 22 podiums now in his last 26 races. And that man, he may not have any fingernails, but he won't care one bit. Julian Marquez, father, of course, of Marc Marquez. He's just witnessed his son produce another breathtaking victory. And he'll start to digest and talk about the race. Just wish I'd have paid more attention to those Spanish and Italian lessons now, because we could have told you exactly what these two are talking about. But you can tell from Marc Marquez there, he was right on the limit, he had nothing left. He was pushing right to the 100%.
I just mentioned the word Valentino there as well. Of course, he was a part of this race at the early stages.
Listen to that massive pause for breath there from Andrea Dovizioso. They've worked hard for that one.
Felicidades. Espectacular.
Spectacular. Even I can understand that one.
Ultima curva era la terza. Ha avuto Red Bull Ring, no? Vinto te. Pone vinto te. Sì. Qui era la terza. Aquí? No, aquí no.
The crowd go mad as they walk across. It's a great little idea, actually, having the podium opposite this huge grandstand.
Sounds like somebody scored a goal in the World Cup final. The noise is so massive here. Passionate crowd. And as we said, however many bahts it costs you to get a ticket here this weekend, for the local currency, well, it was money well spent.
A great first edition here in Thailand. More races like that, please. 3 different manufacturers all taking it in turns to lead.
Yeah, and of course, Marc Marquez joins a pretty exclusive club of race winners who've come through Q1. Only Jack Miller and Cal Crutchlow had held that honour before today, but Marc Marquez now adds his name to that elite list. The first rider yesterday, of course, in qualifying that came through Q1 to take pole position as well. It's another pole to victory double for Marc Marquez. And I think it's fair to say the only letter that needs left to engrave on that World Championship trophy this year now is probably the Z in his surname. A mere formality now, really. Good to see one of his mechanics being allowed to come and soak up the limelight and the glory. Of course, those guys work tirelessly behind the scenes to prepare a motorcycle that Marc Marquez can perform his magic on. Maverick Vinales then, he comes to the podium celebrations for the first time since before the summer break, the Saxon Ring in early July. The last time we saw Vinales on the podium. Andrea Dovizioso then gets a very deserved round of applause and reception for his runner-up spot here in Buriram, but the roof will be lifted off for this man, Marc Marquez. He comes onto the podium with the flower. Well, it was flower power today for Marc Marquez. What a performance at the Chang International Circuit. The Constructor Trophy then being handed over by the PTT-sponsored dignitaries to Repsol Honda. Great first Thailand MotoGP experience for HRC before they head home in 2 weeks' time to Japan. Maverick Vinales then, the 23-year-old Spaniard, in his 135th Grand Prix start. His 55th career podium, his 15th in the MotoGP World Championship, the first time we've seen him on the podium since Germany. And great to see Vinales, Valentino Rossi and the factory Yamaha team resurgent here in Buriram. The 32-year-old Italian from Forlì, Andrea Dovizioso, in his 290th Grand Prix start. He moves on to 90 career podiums now, just one shy of the half-century in the Premier class. That's his 49th MotoGP podium for Andrea Dovizioso, and what a fight he put up against Marc Marquez. But the reigning world champion, the 25-year-old from Spain, his 114th career podium, his 42nd Grand Prix win, the 68 of his career. Only 4 men in history have won more Grand Prix than Marc Marquez. He won a classic Battle of Buriram.
Well, if he didn't know the World Championship was his this year, he almost believes it now. 77 points clear with 4 races left this season. He's only got to finish ahead of Andrea Dovizioso at the next round, and it's completely secure, although there are various other permutations that could get the job done. Of course, Honda would dearly love it to happen in Motegi, and it's likely to happen there. And if it doesn't, for some reason, happen in Motegi, then it almost certainly will have been sewn up when we get over to Australia. But Marc Marquez just cannot be stopped. What we can say is, despite his domination, we have been witnessing some spectacular races of late. And if we get a start to next season with the sort of races that we've been witnessing in the second half of this season, then maybe it could be a bit closer. Ultimately, though, they're all still chasing the same man.
Yeah, and good to see 3 manufacturers fighting for the top prize again out there.